Happy Christmas, everyone, and welcome to a surprising review for the next piece of One Piece by your host with the most, Griever, as always. Chapter 1070, entitled The Most Powerful Beings. So I need to apologize because I was under the impression there was an announcement after 1069 was released about a day or two later saying the next chapter of One Piece, I must have read this wrong, they said the next chapter of One Piece was going to be in the January 4th issue of Shonen Jump or something like that, so I assumed, okay, no more One Piece until the new year or what have you, right? So I didn't expect there to be another chapter. So this came sort of as a shocker to me, but a well-deserved, it's like, hey, Christmas ain't over yet, folks, so let's just get right into this one because we got a few things to talk about. I'm actually going to run down the chapter so I don't forget anything. I've been able to sit on this now for about a day, and here's the deal. First off, the boy band years. The boy band years for Judge, for Vegapunk, for Caesar goddamn Clown. I'm assuming now that it's Judge and Caesar Clown are the first two in the right behind Vegapunk in their back streets back Vegapunk. You know, I guess their boy band was called Mad or something like that. It's like because we're young, we're hip, and we're mad at the world. Fight the power, man. You know, because they're clearly in their boy band years here. I don't know who the crazy dude with the sword looks like Hyogoro the Flowers with in rock band mode. But anyways, some characters here. As I said, I'm assuming the guy to the right of Vegapunk behind him is Judge, and I'm assuming the other guy is Caesar before he had his devil fruit or something. I have no idea. Anyways, this is just my assumption. It's not really stated. So that's quite interesting as for a cover page for sure. And then we jump in. All right. So anybody who thought, like Lucci fans, I like Rob Lucci. I'm not a huge Lucci fan. My boy is Crocodile when it comes to villains of One Piece or antagonists. Croco Boy is number one. He's up here. But I like Lucci. There's nothing wrong with Lucci. But Lucci fans need to calm the fuck down. I'm sorry. It doesn't make Lucci look bad, the fact that he isn't Yonko goddamn level. You know? Luffy has power crept well beyond Lucci's ability, regardless how much training Lucci did over the time skip. So the fact that Luffy is dog walking him here that was to be expected. That's why so many people who review One Piece were saying, who is Lucci going to fight? Because he can't fight Luffy right now. It would be stupid. It's going to be a dog walk. If you want Lucci to be in a real fight again, we need him to fight somebody more closer to his level. Luffy ain't it. Luffy's gone beyond. So here in this chapter, all that does is confirm it, but I see a lot of people arguing. I saw a lot of streams and a lot of people arguing about Lucci, like being salty over Lucci getting walked here. And it's sort of like, what did you expect? You expect the dude who, one of the guys to beat Kaido? Really? You expected that? Like, I'm not saying that right now Luffy 1v1's Kaido right now, because a lot of people, you have to take in all the consideration on how that fight went. But the fact of the matter is that Gear 5th is I'm sorry, Awakenings ain't got shit on Gear 5th right now from what we've seen. And the fact that Luffy just went all out to Gear 5th and is just having fun with him, it's not like he's like, alright, I'll play around with you, pigeon guy, and go into Gear 4th for a little while, and maybe he's a bit of a challenge for Gear 4. Nah. Luffy's like, nah, man. I'm just gonna have fun with you. So that happens in this chapter right out of the gate. Sentomaru also showcasing that he didn't go down. He still saw the attack coming. He tried to block it, but Lucci is showcasing his power. Is that just because you see it doesn't mean you can stop it, sort of idea, right? Similar to what Katakuri said during the wedding scene. Is like, just because I see it doesn't mean I can or will be able to prevent it, right? So he tried to block it, it just didn't work. So as Lucci points out, you may outrank us in the command hierarchy right now, so as long as you're conscious, we can't use the Seraphim, so I've got to take you out. And this is when we have, now originally there was something about, it sounds like Dawn, he's using Dawn Shot So a lot of people assume, like I saw 2 translations of this move, and a lot of people are probably going to focus on this. He uses Gum Gum. He's still using Gum Gum, notice. He's still using Gum Gum. He's not using Nika Nika. He's using Gum Gum. So there is that to be stated. He's still using that, even in Gear 5th, and he's calling this the Gum Gum. It's Booming White, which is just this crazy, it seems like a ricochet shot thing where he twirls himself like a tornado, like Tasmanian Devil idea. But one translation called it Dawning Shot or something like that, or the Shot of Dawn. And here in the kanji on TCB, it's also saying that it can also sound like dawn. And I believe it's probably supposed to be dawn because the whole romance dawn, the awakening of Joy Boy, when the bells of liberation, drums of liberation, all this stuff. So I'm not sure what the attack's going to be officially called, but I don't have an idea. You guys go with what you want to go with. So he's taking down Lucci. It's like no big deal. Now Chopper and Jinbei, of course, still running away, trying to say, "Hey, Luffy, come on, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. Our job isn't to fight them, right?" And then we see the Seraphim attacking. We see Baby Mihawk going crazy. We see Jinbei going crazy, who also apparently has the swim fruit that Frankie notices and is like, "That's my boy, Senor Pink. What have you done? Does that mean my boy, my brother in arms, he's dead?" No, I haven't, because we got that cover page. Remember, we got the cover page where Senor Pink and Frankie finally get to share a drink together, which was the whole thing. And Frankie's upset, but that was only a cover page request. The fact of the matter is that that's never actually happened. And Frankie's upset, thinking, "Oh, does that mean Senor Pink is dead before I ever got to have that drink with him? What are you... Vegapunk, tell me the truth, man!" And it's like, all right, Frankie, calm down. So Jinbei does have the devil fruit, but he doesn't really. He copied the devil fruit. It's another one of those devil fruits that he's made a replica of. And this is where we get finally some more devil fruit lore. And this is the main thing that we're here with Vegapunk right now. I've been complaining about this for a while, and the fact of the matter is that the only reason to bring Vegapunk into the story is to tell us lore, to give us information we didn't already have. And Oda took his sweet goddamn time doing that, but now here's another chapter, just like the last chapter, here's another chapter where we're finally getting the devil fruit lore, which is what I like. Or at least more information about how he's managed to replicate them and yada yada yada, because we still don't know the idea of, do powers outside of zone devil fruits, do they have the souls or the wills that have been confirmed? We don't know if all devil fruits do. We know that zone types actually have a will of their own. We know that for a fact. It's never been confirmed if it's all devil fruits. So, and they are very different because Vegapunk is saying it right now. So, as I said, Frankie is sort of like, that's the power of Senor Pink, so did he bite the dust? And this is where they say, Senor Pink is actually in Impel Down, but he's alive. So he made a copy of the devil fruit. So he said, so far it's only been possible to manufacture zone fruits artificially. So it's interesting that he says this. It's interesting that the way that this is stated in both scans, he said, it's only been possible to manufacture zone fruits artificially. But he managed to make paramecias artificially. I find this very weird that he said, I can only make zone fruits. I'm like, all right. A lot of people theorize that you can only make zone fruits artificially, like the smiles and stuff like that. But then he's made paramecias. So I still find it funny. Or is he acknowledging? Well, he does talk about the fact that he didn't actually artificially create them. He uses that's why the pacifistas and the seraphim, nobody else he can't make a smile fruit that is a paramecia or logia, but he can give his pacifista or his seraphim those abilities due to another thing that we'll get right into. So it's kind of interesting there, because at first you're like, well, wait a minute now, there's the swim fruit, and what about the pacifistas with Kizaru's lasers and stuff like that? Like, what are you talking about? And this is where Nami, right out of the gate, said, you used Caesar's method, did ya? Well, then I can't accept that. You're, like, fuck you, pretty much. And I'm like, yeah, Vegapunk is kind of, once again, I'm not on Team Vegapunk whatsoever. So, and he says he could die 1,000 deaths and it wouldn't be enough. But it's funny that Vegapunk, like Nami says this, but Vegapunk also acknowledges that Caesar's smile fruit method is not one that he makes. So he makes artificial devil fruits in a far different way. And we know this because they're not these pseudo fruits. Like the one that Momo ate was a true replica. It was an actual replica. So the smile fruits is not what Vegapunk makes. Vegapunk actually artificially creates the full Zoan fruit with a color change, and he considers it a failure, but he can actually do it properly because he says, I consider the smile fruits unacceptable. But why does he consider it unacceptable? Is it because of the method he uses, or is it because it realistically, smiles are pretty much failures? It's a 1 in 10 chance, and it's not even a real devil fruit power. So it's like, wait a minute now. This is where he also states that making mythical zones is impossible to make them with the awakened form. He said with unlimited resources, he could do it. He might be able to make mythical zones, or he might be talking about mythical and ancient, it's hard to say, but he's definitely talking about mythical zones, where he states that I have yet to confirm whether these fruits can be awakened, however. I can make a copy, because he did. He made Kaido's fruit. But can Momo actually awaken the synthesized mythical zone Azure Dragon with a synthesized fruit? He can't confirm or deny whether that's even possible, because once again, that takes a lot of years, and people are still going to debate now, oh, does this mean, I know somebody's going to have the outlandish theory that Kaido ate a synthesized Azure Dragon fruit. That's not the case. I'm sorry. There's negative 5 for that one. The fact of the matter is, Kaido was probably awakened during that whole fight, and Oda forgot in the same way he forgot Kid. I'm sorry. He did that big flaming dragon attack was his awakening. His hybrid was awakened. He had the clouds. I don't know what to tell you, because everyone's saying now that the clouds, Lucci's got the clouds, Yamato had the clouds and stuff like that. That signifies awakened, and Kaido had clouds, so I'm saying awakened. Anyways, so here we get a lot more lore done, but this is why I'm going through the chapter page by page, because there's still more stuff to talk about. He said he tried his hand at Logias, but they were trickier than expected. And there's an alternative for paramecia types, and he found that he could synthesize a blood additive, and he calls it green blood. And if he figures out the keys to a paramecia user's lineage factor, it'll grant their power once it's transfused. So basically, he synthesized. So the Jinbei has sort of has a transfusion of Senior Pink's blood, because it's within the bloodstream is your lineage factor, and the fruit is sort of beyond the user. It's actually in their blood, sort of idea. So it's sort of like, from what I'm understanding, if you correctly use some crazy method to do a devil fruit blood transfusion, a special type of blood transfusion, the other person, you can copy the devil fruit. So potentially speaking, any paramecia type, you could take Katakuri's, he's a special paramecia, but whatever. But you could take any of the people that were the paramecia type devil fruit, and if you use Vegapunk's method, you could give before it was a mythical zone, you could give the Gumma Gumma no Mi to all the Straw Hats. And that would be possible. By the sounds of what Vegapunk's saying, that's what I took away from this. And that's what you see running through their arms. And you see through that stuff. But once again, it's not confirmed that he can make artificial zone fruits that people can eat, but he can't do it to anything that's not basically a cyborg or a robot. So the Seraphim and the Pacifista. He can't actually replicate the paramecia fruit, so what I just said is sort of incorrect. You can't do the blood transfusion to a living being, I don't believe. I think he can only make the copy. He can use the bloodstream of Senior Pink, create this green blood stuff, and put it into one of his cyborgs, one of his androids, one of his robots, whatever you want to call them, but he can't actually manufacture that and then give it to another person. He can't seem to do that. So far, that's what I'm gathering anyways. And then, so Frankie is amazed at saying, you created blood. So he created this bloodstream thing to make the Seraphim activated. But he also, of course, has the lineage factor clearly for Boa Hancock, Mihawk, Jinbei. Also, where's our boy Seraphim Young Crocodile? Let's go. young crocodile. Now, once again, I don't think he'll have because he said that Logias are a lot trickier and he's going to give paramecia. That doesn't mean there's not a crocodile seraphim. That just means he wouldn't have the sand powers. He would probably have a different devil fruit, paramecia. So then we see the controversial scene of the chapter. After this, we see the controversial scene of the chapter, which is the love mellow beam from 10-year-old Boa Hancock. Yeah, it's too early to get crunked, so yeah, I'm drinking. I really wish this was something a little stronger, because I went through Wikipedia. I watched Tekking's video on it. I went through the One Piece wiki. I went through translations trying to justify that it's because the Marines here, or the Cipher Pole agents, whatever, they find her adorable or cute because it's not just perverted and dirty and lustful thoughts towards the user. It's also if they find them adorable and cute, because Boa, I believe, confirmed that with women she has to act a little more cutesy and adorable for the beam to work on them, where she uses more like lust, like I'm gorgeous, look at my tits, for men. In this particular instance here, I think Oda might have, I don't know, because there is a couple of lines, when you do enough research, there's a couple of lines where it says love or lust, or they're interchangeable. So if they feel like she's absolutely the most adorable, like it's sort of like falling in love with a stray kitten, like, oh my god, look at the little kitty cat, it would work on you. There is some translation sort of debate there, whether it's pure, it has to be only dirty thoughts and lustful thoughts, or if thoughts of like, oh my god, a puppy, it's the cutest thing in the world, would that not work? There's a debate there. I mean, I'm sure it's young Boa, she's an adorable, cute little, kid. But because it hasn't really been showcased well in the alternative that I'm talking about, which once again, there's nothing saying that that's not still possible, and hopefully Oda chooses to explain this in some way. Soon, Oda, because I'm just, that's what I'm going to go off of, okay? Everyone has their controversial thoughts on this and blah, 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 blah. And we all know the lolly thing in Japan. It's fucking gross. But I'm just going to go off on a limb and my own headcanon and say there's nothing saying, because there is some translation, there is some stuff on the One Piece wiki, the wiki, Tekking's video and stuff that says it's not solely lustful and dirty thoughts. It's just that's the majority of the time. That's what works easiest. It is still the love fruit. There's nothing saying, as I said, the example, the kitten, the puppy, it's, oh my god, that's the most adorable thing. It's so cute, that those feelings won't also work. It's a small chance, but that's what I'm gonna do to, sort of idea to rationalize it for at least right now. That's what I'm gonna go off of. So then we get Baby Kuma doing his shocks and stuff like that, and it's just like, whoa, wait a minute, damn. And this is where Vegapunk claims that these might very well go down as the most powerful beings in the history of the sea, is the Seraphim. Now, that's a strong-ass statement, because the strongest beings in the history of the sea, I would argue Conqueror's Haki users are still more powerful. Fully developed Conqueror's Haki users. I'm going to state that right here. But Vegapunk's got a bold claim, and the Seraphim do look like, and especially I assume they are going to age and get stronger as they get older, and if they're anything like their, because they're clones. They're not like the kids, like, oh, I used Mihawk's blood and made a kid. No, it's not. It's literally a Mihawk clone. So, and I assume it's the lineage factor copied perfectly, so the potential to be as powerful as Mihawk exists in that Seraphim. So that's something. So I do agree that his statement, while a little bit outlandish, isn't without merit. So they finally realized that this is why the war system was abolished. Of course, Usopp is terrified. Frankie's in love with this idea. And Sanji and Robin are very worried about the implications that you made these things. And they're going to be a huge detriment. Like, yeah, they got rid of the warlords, but these things are basically the warlords 2.0, but with no wills of their own, controlled by the government. What the hell did you do? Like, Robin and Sanji are sweating over this shit, and as they should be. This is dangerous. The Seraphim are not a joke. So, this is where finally Lucci manages to get his ass up. Sentomaru, of course, is still there, but Luffy manages to protect him, and he uses this crazy, like, I'm a chain chomp, yeah, you know, he's just going nuts. So I think, seriously, Oda always wanted to draw a Pegasus Yu-Gi-Oh duel with Toon World. I swear to Christ, that's all. Oda waited. He said, 25 years. 25 years I've goddamn waited, and finally I get to draw Toon World. Let's go. You know, Mongolian and Toon Summon Skull. Like, he really wanted to draw Pegasus using Toon World. I swear to Christ. And then, after all this, of course, he manages to defeat Lucci pretty straightforward after, like, Lucci dodges and dodges, but that's all he manages to do. He can't actually hurt or stop Luffy. And then, of course, he gets him with his, you know, he puts goggles on like he's in Digimon or some shit. And then he's like, boing, he uses Gum Gum Stretch, booming white rocket, goes right through Lucci, knocking Lucci out in one clean hit. One real, actual attack. It took him the hell out, or it seemed to. And because even Lucci's like, he's bleeding, he's like, what the hell? This is insane power. I'm losing consciousness with that one blow. And Luffy's, once again, Luffy's not even taking this seriously. He's joking. I haven't seen Conqueror's Haki. I didn't even think, did he even use Armament Haki on that attack? Because I certainly didn't fucking see it. It could be implied, but the fact of the matter is that I don't think he even needed it. Because Luffy is just, he's up here now, guys, and that's not bad. That's not a bad thing that Luffy has gone beyond his predecessors. He's stronger than Crocodile. He's stronger than Doflamingo. He's stronger than Lucci. Some of the people that used to give him, that he struggled against before, now he's able to, you know, he's a main character. This is what happens in Shonen. There's nothing wrong with this. So, Boa points the way for Jinbei and Chopper and everybody like that. And this is where Jinbei, apparently little Boa, is Seraphim. Boa does seem to have a personality. She's not an unthinking robot, because she seems to be a bit of a Tsundere. She seems to be a bit of a Chopper, which is you know, it's nice to have such a, oh, the real Boa doesn't act anything like this. It's nice to see this kind side of you, little Boa, and stuff. And she's just like blushing and like, you dummy, I'm just following orders. I don't, you know, you shouldn't say stuff like that. And then it's just like, oh, so little Boa is a bit of a Tsundere. All right, cool. And then, I mean, of course, once again, assuming that my theory is correct about how that love beam worked, then she's adorable. That's cute. And then Luffy ends up getting there, but Sentomaru basically says, like, I'm trusting you with the old man. Get the hell out of here. And Luffy says, yeah, you got it. I'll get him off this island no matter what, Axe Guy. And so he takes off. Now, the problem is, of course, is that clearly Lucci managed to, so even though he was passed out for a little bit, he ends up waking up, as we know by the end of the chapter. So they end up rocketing themselves to wherever everybody else is. They get up there, and the Frontier Dome has been fortified, and the intruders have infiltrated. Be on high alert, all this stuff. And but seemingly they all get together. So Lucci he did lose consciousness apparently, but he woke up shortly thereafter, probably at least a few minutes, maybe a little longer, and then boom, they say that Sentomaru was a damn good bodyguard, but Sentomaru was officially passed out, meaning that the hierarchy, of course, is now going to go to CP0 because Vegapunk is not around. This is a bit of an issue for them, because this is a real pity Sentomaru, because it's like Sentomaru, of course, betrayed the Marines sort of idea, because he helped Vegapunk. And so Stussy tells Lucci, our orders are still to wait for the Marines. You weren't supposed to engage him, and now we're supposed to wait for the Marines. And he says, well, if we wait too long, they're going to get away. So still, he leads all of CP0 up there with the Seraphim. So we got Mihawk, Jinbei, and Boa. No other, and Kuma. So we have 4 Seraphim to deal with. 4. That's going to be an issue. Plus Lucci, who just got his ass kicked in one shot. So I'm not that worried. But Kaku and Stussy still, you know, they can strut their stuff as well. And Seraphim, I think, are going to give... In all honesty, I think little Mihawk Seraphim is stronger than Lucci. I'm just going to say it right now. But we are going to have a bit of an issue I think, a bit of an issue here. So before that last panel, they talk about, so they've all met up and they say, oh, so wait a minute, they seriously want you dead. Isn't that a waste for the world government? You're the smartest man in the world. And he explains, would you rest easy if such an intellect may turn against you? They're worried. So now that they've created the Seraphim, now that they've created the Pacifista, now that they've basically exhausted to the point that they were, gambling, they were rolling the dice. At this point, Vegapunk's saying, well, at this point, I've given them as much as they're willing to take a chance on. And right now, they're like, nope. As much as he might invent something else for us as well, he's done enough, and we can't take the risk anymore. It's too high a risk at this point. We have enough stuff from him. We gotta make a clean break sort of idea. Sort of like playing the stock market, right? A stock you bought for $10 is now up to $100. Do you really want to cash it in, or do you wait until it gets to $1,000? Then it gets to $10,000. At what point are you going to go, you know what? That $10,000 might go to $20,000. But I only paid $10 for this stock. I want to take that $10,000, and before I lose it all, before that stock tanks and I get nothing, I would rather cash in my stocks, get my, I bought 5 at $10 a piece. Now I get $50,000. If it goes up, fantastic for somebody else. I still have my 50 grand. Cut your losses. Be smart about it. Don't stay in the casino. Cash the fuck out. And that's sort of the mentality Vegapunk is explaining that the world government currently has. They've made their money 10 times over with this guy already. They're not willing to take the gamble of 20 times for the chance of going into the negatives, to losing it all. So it's time to eliminate him. So he said it would make to snuff out a potential liability like him, and Nami's honest about it. And then Usopp's like, how can you talk about that? But as Vegapunk said, this is almost like fate, and it's ironic for or it's funny, might not be ironic, well, kind of ironic. It's funny that a scientist, one so focused on science is the answer, even though we've already talked about that in previous chapters, how Jinbei brought up that's not going to work, and I've brought up that's not going to work, but he's so focused on science for him to talk about fate. Because scientists generally believe in logic and facts, and they don't believe in arbitrary things like destiny and fate and, gods and religions and stuff. So it's funny that he, of all people, says, and an emperor's crew just happens to show up when I needed to make my leave. It's a crazy twist of fate, even. And it's like, all right, so Vegapunk might not be as black and white science for everything, because he's bringing up fate as though he's like, and I mean, who better to protect me from the world government than an emperor's goddamn crew? The one crew out of the 4 crews in the world that they will not attack, this is one of them. So, all right, let's go. Now, as I said, final double page spread. Jewelry Bonnie is now, she's up and kicking again, and they ended up getting Atlas to get the attention and the medical cares and stuff like that. So Frankie and Usopp are really excited that Vegapunk is going to join. It's like, so you really want to come on board our ship, the General Frankie and the Sunny? I'm going to show them to you, and you're going to be able to, maybe work on them and all this stuff. And that would be interesting for Frankie and Vegapunk to work on the ship together, or make Frankie's, Super Sentai Megazord even greater. There's a lot of options there, of course. So Jewelry Bonnie is, of course, still after Vegapunk and stuff like that. You got to turn my old man back to the way he was. And this is where we, as I said, we get that final page with Lucci and the Seraphim and everybody. They're going to block off every exit. There are 6 Vegapunks left, including the real one. Their defense system is still going to be tough to crack, but they're going to get them, and they're going to move in regardless of orders. Now, this is where the final shot is Kizaru's on his way. The Straw Hat crew is allied itself with Vegapunk. On paper, that should make for a straightforward escape. So Kizaru is admitting, he's like, so an Emperor's teaming up with Vegapunk to get off that island. Yeah, I don't think there's very much we can fucking do about that. You know what I mean? Sort of like Garp, like, nah, leave it. It's like, we're not going to try to capture Rayleigh. Why the fuck would we try to do that? Are you insane? Just leave him alone until he's not screwing with anybody, and it would take our entire damn military force to do that. We're not taking him on right now. So Kizaru is doing the same idea, saying, makes sense to me. But then he says, but they are in for a surprise if they truly think it'll be that easy and will proceed as planned. Get as many warships as possible to Egghead. So they're not going to do just 5. They're not going to Buster Call. They're going to Super Buster Call. They're going to Super Buster Call because he didn't say, bring me 5, initiate a Buster Call. He said, bring as many warships as possible. So not 5 with 5 Vice Admirals. Kizaru's there. CP0's there. 4 Seraphim are there, and now he wants more battleships. Jesus Christ. I mean, Kude burst all you want, but this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be crazy. So it doesn't say no break next week, but I was under the impression that there was supposed to be a break, that the next chapter was not going to be released next week. So maybe I'm crazy, but as I said, there was a lot to talk about in this chapter, so this is going to be a long-ass review. But, hey, it's Christmas time. So, here, Merry Christmas to you guys, right? So, that was me talking for 35 minutes about One Piece. I think I covered everything there, though. I don't think I have any last-minute thoughts. I'm just really excited now that Egghead has finally picked up. We're getting some cool shit. Rob Lucci, Awakened, fighting. The Seraphim are really cool to see them in combat and how their abilities work and how powerful they are. And now Kizaru's on the way. We haven't really seen an admiral, a real admiral. We haven't seen a real admiral, because Green Bull don't count for shit. We haven't seen a real admiral been in combat for many, many, many moons. And I'm here for it. I want to see Kizaru clashing with somebody. I want to see Kizaru clashing with Sanji, which was, like, that was showcased in one of those openings fucking like 10 years ago. Like, they were going to clash sort of idea, right? But could he clash with Zoro, because he uses swords? His light sword and stuff. Who's Kizaru going to clash with? Luffy? Jinbei? Zoro? Sanji? Who's he going to clash with? That's going to be exciting. Who is Kizaru going to be toted up against? That's what I'm curious to see. And a lot of people want to see Zoro versus Baby Mihawk. And I mean, I'm there for it, because Baby Mihawk gave Blackbeard a run for his goddamn money. And now some of that was off screen, but we know that the Seraphim gave the Blackbeard crew a fucking run for their money. So, these Seraphim are on another. They're somewhere else, man. So, anyways, that's it for me for the review. What did you guys think? Like, comment, and subscribe as always. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That's not going to happen. So this is so sad, but still, that doesn't mean I don't want 1,000 subscribers in January. So we can get there, and then I have to watch or read Mob Psycho. I forget which one I'm supposed to do. But at 1,000 subscribers, it's Mob Psycho time. So, anyways, that's it for me. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year's to everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you back here next time. So, as I said, celebrate with your family, friends, however you celebrate this gift-giving type of year, the end of the year festivities. And, yeah, looking forward to more One Piece. Now that this arc, this little Egghead baby arc has finally started to pick up in pacing and some cool shit that's happening, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for what One Piece is going to bring us next. So, anyways, we'll see you guys back here next time. Bye-bye.